Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you're having a great week and happy Thursday to you. So let's start off. Let's talk about the market because today we have a very special show lined up for you. The Dow closed down 360 points, and the Nasdaq continued to roar, tech heavy, up 55 points. A lot of the stocks that are doing well today, as you can imagine, are the stocks that obviously do well if we continue to shelter in place as we see continued increases cases in the pandemic world. So a lot of things going on, but certainly that is the theme. We'll see how that unfolds. Again, we're going to see more unemployment data, and then we'll go into tomorrow as well. But today, I'm excited to introduce you to my very good friend, the one and only Roger Wakefield. Now, you may have heard of Roger if you're on LinkedIn or on social media on YouTube. Roger's probably a very familiar name to you. Roger, it is so wonderful to welcome you. How are you, my friend?
Winnie, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me here. This is exciting.
I'm excited to have you. I know this is sort of different for you because typically you're the one sort of conducting the interview. You've got a really robust show that we absolutely love. We're seeing you all over television now. I've seen you all over in different markets, and really, what a transition. I mean, talk about a winning success story. From the time I met you, you were already huge when I met you. You spoke on the panel at VidCon, and to now. Roger, I mean, I just love to see all the growth that you're doing, and most importantly, all the help you're giving to so many Americans who watch you.
It's been good because think about it. People have been socially distancing. They're at home. They're looking for things to do. They can, with me, I give them choices. Look, do you want to work on your house? I can teach you to do things, or go to social media and learn to change your future. And I think it's great.
I think that's fantastic. And actually, we see these numbers. So Lowe's has shown that since last year to now, Lowe's has increased traction into their stores of 11% because people are doing DIY projects. People are really getting active since they're sheltering at home, trying to make their homes a little bit more like home. And then we're seeing the same with Home Depot is showing an increase of 6% traffic into their stores. And did you know, Roger, I thought you would find this funny. Actually, 14% of Americans right now are interested in building a shed. Like a shed building is like a big thing. I didn't even know this. Did you know this?
I didn't know it, but there was that commercial going on about the lady whose shed was burning down, so she was all excited. She was going
Oh,
to get to
really?
build a new she shed. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. Well, we have a lot to talk about, Roger. Certainly I want to talk about plumbing because obviously you are the plumbing guru and someone that so many people trust. In fact, I remember when I had a chance to speak with um, your amazing wife, and she told me, she's like, people reach out to us, Winnie, from everywhere, from different states, from different cities, from different countries, and they all want Roger to come in and help them with their plumbing. So let me talk about this. Like, Roger, is plumbing really essential? Is that considered essential business right now?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Winnie, because I think plumbing is, but look at what kind of plumbing we're talking about. You're out in LA. Say you're driving down the highway and you look over and they're building a new hotel and it's full of people. You watch the elevators go up and down. They're jam packed in there. The employee elevators are called buck hoists, but they jam pack them in there. They're not wearing masks. They're not taking care of themselves. Is a hotel for the next biggest hotel in the nation, is that really a necessity? The reason I think plumbing is everybody needs water, everybody needs safe drinking water, and they need the sewer water taken away from their house properly. So I think service plumbing, residential service plumbing is, even office, commercial service plumbing. But I think, building a new hotel, building a new office tower right now, I kind of question that because I think we're putting some people's lives in danger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we talked about this before, Roger. I mean, the whole wearing of masks, right? This is something that in your profession you've done for a very long time. And you said, nowadays, do you have concerns now as you're going out and your crew is going out, taking care of these problems right now? Have things changed in your own company?
Absolutely. And they don't just change when we get to the house. When we get a phone call in, we actually ask the caller, has anyone at your house been diagnosed with COVID? Is anybody showing any signs? And we've got certain questions that we ask. And then we let them know, we want you to know we check our guys' temperature every morning. Our guys wear face masks, they wear booties, they wear gloves. They're very careful with their tools. They clean and sanitize them after the jobs when they've used them. So we're doing a lot of extra steps to make sure that we don't just protect ourselves and our families, but that we protect our customers. And I think most businesses should be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, Roger. Sometimes when we think about what you've mentioned, we think about our essential workers being like physicians and dentists and whatnot. And you've talked about PPE and like going through those different steps. I think for many of us Americans, when we think about taking care of things like our plumbing and whatnot, there's a lot of hesitation, right? We don't know who to trust. In fact, my mom actually was telling me that she needed to get like one of her friends wanted to get their car smogged, and they didn't know where to go, and they went there, and it was just a very uneasy experience. But I think, Roger, you've mentioned sort of taking that step-by-step approach and detailing to your customers what having a plumber go into homes looks like. Do you find that to be the case? I mean, obviously you've done a great job in this area. What about other service professionals? Are they sort of looking to you and getting some advice on how to transition their business as well during COVID?
Not so many of the company owners, but I have a lot of employees, a lot of service providers nationwide. And it's not just plumbers that watch what we do. I've got electricians, HVAC techs, roofers, everybody. And they'll reach out and call me and say, hey, look, our bosses are making us go into houses and, we're just wearing a bandana over our face. Do you think this is safe? And it's kind of tough because I've got to be honest with them and say, look, I don't think it is. And we've got different levels of masks. We've got the N95. We've got the NIOSH N99. There's certain things for different environments. And I may say, yeah, you can wear a bandana if you're crawling around under a crawl space. But if you think there's a busted pipe down there and you may be getting sewer gases, you may want to go to something that's going to protect you a little bit more.
Yeah, that's so important. So when you think about this, think about what have you learned about social distancing, and maybe if you could share us what are your thoughts on what the new normal looks like for service companies.
Well, and when it's a great way to look at it, what is the new normal? Is this already it? And I had this conversation with Julie the other day. What if, and I mean, look at this. We've had the HIV virus for years. We don't have a cure. We don't have a vaccine. We've got things that slow it down. We've had the flu, the cold for years and years and years. We still don't have a vaccine for it. There's nothing that stops it. What if this is something that we live with from now on? We're not sure if it's completely airborne, how it's passed, different things. This may be the entirely new normal. So if so, people need to learn to do the things we're doing on social media, meet people, talk to people, get out in front of them. But also, as we do walk into people's houses or think about the future where we're going, what could we do right now to make it better, not just for us, but for our customers, because that may be the way business is done from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I completely agree with you on that. We take a look at so many service individuals that we use and we go to for even our medical professionals. Like, for example, my kids, typically we go see the dentist every 3 months. We haven't gone to the dentist because of concerns, right? But then I'm thinking from a practitioner standpoint, I think it'd be really powerful for my dentist to step up and say, these are the steps we're taking. These are the procedures that you can expect, and you should still continue to come and see me. But when you don't hear, you don't know. And so therefore, you're under the assumption that things are still the way that they were previously. So I do think as business owners, as practitioners, we have to step up and we have to take this opportunity to sort of over communicate with our clients, our potential clients too, to number one, let them know we're still open for business. And number two, these are the steps that we're taking to protect you. And number three, this is what you can expect if you do business with us during this time. And that's something I think we should talk about a lot. Roger, we've been friends now for a few years. And the thing that I love is that in many ways, when we first met, it was almost like raw, like everything was like perfect because in many ways, we had a lot in common, even though profession-wise, we couldn't be more different, right? We couldn't be the most yin and yang. Obviously, a financial advisor, a plumber, what do we really have in common? Well, one thing that we definitely have in common is that we both came from industries that really didn't dabble a lot in social media, and so we, in many ways, we kind of figured it out, learned it ourselves. And so I want to let Roger, if you could share a little bit about that journey, because I think it's very, very interesting. Talk about when you first started social media, or when you got that itch and what you did about it.
It started for me because, and I call it OPM marketing, other people's money. I was hiring marketing companies trying to make my small plumbing company grow. And think about it, you get to deal with a lot of business owners. Almost every residential service provider of any kind, our number one goal is, how do we make the phone ring? Because if the phone's not ringing, we're not doing business. So I got tired of getting ripped off by marketing companies that literally their attitude was, look, if you give me more money, I'll make your phone ring more. And they couldn't really tell you what they were doing or how they were doing it. It's just, look, just give me more money. And I finally got fed up with it, and I wanted to learn social media. The funny thing is, I actually thought that I was going to go learn how to improve Facebook. How can I do better posts? How can I make more connections? And I was walking down the hall in San Diego, and I saw a sign out in front of a room that said, get in front of your customers with video. And the very first thing that I thought is, okay, we could make videos about what we do. So I go in, the guy's talking about YouTube. And he starts off saying, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And it's funny, Winnie, because I almost got up and walked out because I thought he has no idea what he's talking about. YouTube is just the place that I store videos on, because we had made 2 or 3 videos about our company. So I'm listening to this, and I thought, this guy knows nothing. And I sat there for 90 minutes through a session. By the time I was done, I realized I needed to be in front of a camera making videos talking about my company. And that's really what got me started. And you think about marketing companies and advertising companies and all the background and history that they do, yet here I am, a plumber with no marketing training, no advertising training, no training whatsoever on anything like that. And I walk out of this event thinking I'm going to own social media. And the funny thing is, if you get out right now, and I tell people all the time, pull out your phone. If you've never searched it on YouTube before, go to YouTube and search plumbing and see what you find. And normally I come up number 1, and I've got anywhere from 6 to 12 videos that come up on that first page of YouTube every single time. So we're doing something good now.
You're doing something great, and I know your follower count just gets larger and larger. And it's so interesting because and it makes sense. Like, now that you say it and you think about it, like, if I had a plumbing question, of course I go to Google, and of course I would want to see how it's done on YouTube. So now that you sit back, I think a lot of people, now that you've done this, Roger, that you've developed this brand, you've created videos, you've created a lot of value for people in the public, it makes sense. Now plumbers are like, that makes sense. I should have done that. And I think the same with me when I first started in social media, same thing. I remember so many people said, what are you wasting your time doing social media? You should just go hit the phones, make some more cold calls. You should do more public speaking, do more seminars, which I do. Just you and I both do a lot of public speaking, still do that. But that being said, doing business differently makes sense for us, and certainly has made sense for both of us during this experience, during COVID, right? I'm sure, like, you and I are both sitting in our respective studios, and that's been a great thing. I think, I remember when I first met you out in Anaheim, not that long ago at VidCon, right? And I remember you bringing iPads, and you were filming, and then I had Curtis with me and our team, and we were filming, but we weren't normal. And what's funny is that we weren't considered really creative people. We were actually just plumber, financial advisor, and yet look at us. I mean, but very, very, very funny things. But talk to me about this. I'm sure a lot of people ask you and Julie this now, which is this a good time to start a business? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, think about what you said about being in Anaheim. I remember going in there and I'm setting up iPads and the guys are watching me, the professionals that are running all the audio and cameras, and they're looking at me and they're like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna do a LinkedIn live from here." And they looked at it and they're like, "Well, do you need anything from us?" I said, "Well, can I get a live audio feed?" And they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Yeah, you know about that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They said, "Aren't you a plumber?" And it was really funny. But look at what we've done. I mean, that was not a time for a plumber to think about, okay, I'm just going to jump into social media and run with it. But I don't know that there's ever a great time. But you say, is this a good time to start a business? And what we talked about a while ago, what if this is the new normal? What if this is it we're living in right now? Look around at what's changed in the world. Look at what's going on and look at what we could do to improve people's lives right now, every day. And I say that because I do think that this is going to be closer to the new normal than what we had 2 years ago or even a year ago.
Hmm.
So look at what's going on and say, okay, what could I do? And I'm going to steal this from Michael Gerber. I know this could never happen, but if I could change this and make this happen, this would change the world in so many ways. And if people will look at that and just think about it, because I mean, paradigm shifts don't always come from within, they come from somebody outside looking in. I was a plumber that walked in and saw social media a different way than anybody in the service industry had. I've now got marketing companies that are calling me saying, "How did you learn to do social media? And what are you doing? And will you teach us?" So if you look at it like that, if I can be a plumber and in under 2 years do the things that I've done on social media, anybody in the world with any training in advertising, marketing, or anything else could come right behind me and just blow me away. Because look, I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just consistent and I continuously try to get better. So if you want to start a new business, look at what could be done better and find a way to do it. And I promise you, man, now is a great time.
Now is a great time. I would echo that completely. So many times I remember growing up as a kid, and my mom would say, like, if only you just have to become a doctor. You just have to do this. You just have to do that. But then you think about it, it doesn't really matter what it is that your profession that you've chosen to do. You just need to be the best that you can at it and always continue to keep an open mind of how you can sort of leverage what you know and build upon that. Because I think Roger's a perfect example of this. He's already running a very successful plumbing business. He could have just sat back and like he said, spent more money and paid more marketing companies to bring him more customers. But instead, he decided, why not invest some energy and learn this myself, and see where this can take me? And that was sort of my feeling too. I was like, what do you really have to lose, right? The social media platforms are there, and Roger is incredible on video, and he's not only just great in video, he's just an incredible human being, like very thoughtful, very generous, very kind. And so I think that translates well, certainly on camera. And I know that Roger, I know because Roger's a good friend of mine. I know he's got also a lot of really cool opportunities that are always going to be in front of him. But for those of you who are sitting at home right now and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, perhaps you're part of that, the 50% right now. They're struggling with work or unemployment, and maybe you're an employee at United Airlines and we're hearing news that Wells Fargo is going to do layoffs as well. Maybe you're sitting there thinking like, gosh, like, can things get even more difficult than they already are? Maybe think about something that you've always wanted to do and maybe just try, right? Roger just tried. And it's funny because I remember, Roger, you sharing with me, you were at Social Media World, and then they're talking about what they were doing and what their professions are. And then someone asked you what your profession was. And what did they say?
It was people going around the room saying, what are you and what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I'm a plumber and I'm going to do good on YouTube. And they're like, yeah, right. And go on to the next one. When people see me as a plumber, I'm not worried about stereotyping. It doesn't bother me. It used to, but now it's like, look, I'm just a plumber. And I mean, you saw me whenever I talked at VidCon. I always tell people when I first start, guys, look, I am just a plumber. That's what I am. I was unstopping toilets yesterday. I'll be unstopping them tomorrow. I'm a plumber. but look what I've learned to do. And you talk about people being home right now. When you think about this, there's so much free education online, YouTube, LinkedIn. There are some amazing platforms that we can get in and learn a lot of things. People can learn enough in 2 months to step out and start something new and be really good at it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's so interesting that you said that you're just a plumber, right? Like I always say, I'm just a financial advisor. In fact, one day my husband says to me, he's like, why does a financial advisor need to do this? And why are you getting invited to do this? And why are you speaking at this? I was like, and I sat there for a moment. I remember thinking like, well, that's a good question. I guess I've developed and become more than your typical financial advisor. And I think, Roger, I would say the same thing about you. You're way beyond a typical plumber. But why should that be the case? Why should it, yeah, it stop there? So let's talk about entrepreneurs right now. When you think
Yep.
about entrepreneurs, I know you do a lot of mentoring work. You speak and you help a lot of people who are in your industry as well as other industries. You talked about, using social media. I mean, I know, I'm sure you and I are busier right now than we've ever been in our careers because we're sheltered in place, and therefore we have these tools, and we're like, we need to, get better and train and just practice our craft. What do you think entrepreneurs should be doing if you're talking to someone who's just like, I'm just overwhelmed, I don't even know where to start? What are sort of your tips?
I think that I would tell people, think about what you could do that wouldn't overwhelm you. Would you like to, start learning social media, networking? Right now, Julie and I, as you know, still work with a lot of networking groups, but we're doing it online now. And a lot of people that we meet online are like, I don't even know how to do Zoom. And you can teach them, you can talk to them. And there's so many different things, but what can you learn about, let's say, marketing? If you're at home right now and you're in a business that's struggling and you're like, eventually my doors are going to shut, instead of sitting home and worrying about that, what if people sat home, watched video, and learned how to get themselves and their business out in front of other people that are home too? You talked about plumbing. Everybody right now that is at home is using their plumbing more than they ever have because they're home a lot more. And therefore, they're going to have more problems. It's going to happen more often and whatnot. And me as a plumber, if I'm doing things to get out in front of them, it's going to get their attention. Then if they do have a problem, and my thing is, I'm like you, Winnie, look, I don't ever turn on the camera and start selling. Hey, call me. I'm going to give you a discount. Call me now. I'll do this for you. I don't do that. I give people value. I give people free information to help them. Whether they call me or somebody else, I want them to at least understand what's going on, what they're talking about, and what they're looking at. You do the same thing. Bring people value. And then when they think, man, I wish I knew what to do about this, you're the first person that they think of. Anybody in any business can do that, can become the trusted advisor if they want to.
Absolutely, and or the trusted plumber if they want to. And I love that. One thing that I've always said from the beginning, and I know you agree this too because we've talked about this. I always say for business owners, for entrepreneurs that are watching, we have a responsibility to our business, to our employees, but most importantly, our clients and our customers to be marketing. And why is that? Because I always say, if no one knows that you exist, you essentially don't exist. So you could be the absolute best plumber in the entire universe. But if nobody knows that you exist, you really exist. And if you don't exist, then you go out of business, then your customers suffer, your employees suffer, your business suffers. It's kind of a sort of a domino effect. So one of the main responsibilities that we have as business owners, it's not even a responsibility, it's an amazing opportunity, is to continue to be out there and tell people exactly what it is that we do, why we're passionate about what we do. And when you watch Roger's videos on YouTube and LinkedIn and everywhere else, I think you're gonna feel that passion. And so I am so grateful, Roger, to have you come on the show because I think you've certainly been just an incredible inspiration to me personally, and just an incredible friend. And I'm glad more people are following you. for those of you who aren't following Roger or maybe haven't seen one of his videos, where would you send them? Where's the best place that they can learn more about what you and your company does?
Well, the neat thing about it is you can go to YouTube and you can just search plumbing. You'll find my channel there. And that's good for people that have plumbing problems. They can go, a lot of them can go learn to fix their own problems or just learn about plumbing. Also, I love to connect with people on YouTube. I mean, on LinkedIn. I tell people all the time, look, I believe in R&D, and it's not research and development, it's rip off and duplicate. Watch what I'm doing. If you've got an HVAC company or a roofing company, watch what I do and say, you know what, I could make a video like that about, you know, what's the right shingle to use? What's the right ladder to use? There's a lot of different things that you can teach people and bring them value, never sell them anything. But when you bring them value like that, they're always going to remember who you are.
They absolutely are. This is so, so true. In fact, you know, I think this is something that you've done such a great job with. You've been such a great teacher and been so generous with your time. So for that, Roger, thank you so much. I can't wait for this pandemic to be behind us, because I can't wait to get together with you and your beautiful wife and go have some barbecue in Texas finally. But amazing, Roger. What are you working on? Anything fun that you can share with us that's sort of in your future, and any, you know, anything that maybe you're excited about that you want to share with us?
Always excited about everything, but the neat thing going on, we're talking with potential sponsors for our YouTube channel, which will help us. It's going to help us grow and be able to do some different things. Just so many wonderful different things going on. And it's funny you mentioned barbecue, because I remember your favorite in Dallas are burn-ins from Pecan Lodge.
That's right. That is right, my friend. And you're so nice. Like, I will meet you at the airport. Like,
I know. Tell me you're there. I will meet you and pass it through security. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. My husband will be so happy. My Texan husband, who's down in California. But absolutely. Well, stay safe, my friend, and thank you so much. And please, if you don't mind, I'd love to have you back, because always so much wisdom to share, and thank you. Continue to do what you do and help all the people that you do.
Well, thank you too. And it's really neat, because every time I think of you, you know, and Julie and I had this conversation the other day. I was not taught about money when I was young. And my parents, it was a little bit different. My parents told me I could do anything in the world. They just didn't tell me how to do it. I just thought, wow, that must be easy. But I enjoy listening to you. I love what you do, and I do appreciate it. And, you know, that's something Julie and I talk about. We love the way you give great information, great advice, and things like that. So Winnie, son, thank you for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it. This has been wonderful. And I'd love to have you on one of my shows one day.
I will be totally honored. Thank you, my friend.
Tell
your beautiful wife I miss her too. And thank you, everybody who joined us, and all your comments. Incredible. Love them so much. And we will definitely be responding to each and every one. If you have any questions for Roger and myself, feel free to send them online or direct message anytime. We would always love to see you and hear from you. All right. Take care, my friends. And thank you so much, Roger.
Thank you, Winnie. I appreciate it.